What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I want to do a quick video showing you guys Endeavour OS. Now, as I stated in the intro of the video, I want to show you guys Endeavour OS, which is a Arch-based Linux distribution that's very simple to use, and I recommend it for people that are just getting new into Linux and they want to try out an Arch-based distribution. So this is one of those Arch-based distributions similar to Manjaro. It has a very simple installer, and I want to just basically do a quick review just to show you guys how to install it, as well as show you guys the desktop, with there being a new release that just came out a couple weeks ago. This will be a good time to kind of show you guys some of those new features that are available for this latest release of Endeavour OS. Now let's go to the website right fast so I could read a little bit about it, just give you a little background on Endeavour OS. So let's get to that. All right, cool. So I'm at Endeavour OS, or Endeavour OS, and I'll put the link down in the description of the video. But just reading on the first page, it says a terminal centric distro with a dynamic and friendly community in its core. And it's always good to see other communities that are out there that are Arch kind of user friendly, similar to Manjaro, how it kind of makes Arch Linux kind of easy for more people to get into it. This is another community like that, and I believe it has some ties to Antergos as well, and that kind of covers like the origin of this distribution. But let's just scroll down. I know it released its first release of 2021, has arrived, but let's click right here. It says or read right here. It says, welcome to Endeavour OS. Are you that distro hopper that always have been curious to try Arch Linux, but you think you aren't confident enough to do the install process and dealing with the bleeding edge releases after install? Or are you already familiar with Arch Linux, but you're looking for an express install with a system that's close to your beloved distro? No matter which category you're in, we can offer you the solution and make your jump start in the flexible and wonderful world that an Arch-based distro can offer. And if we scroll right here, I just wanted to kind of read a little bit. I believe it came from Antergos at some point. And I wish I had some information on it, but one thing about it, it has multiple desktops in the installer, so you can install multiple desktop environments within the system. And as you can see, you got KDE, Xfce. I think Xfce is kind of like their flagship, so to speak, desktop environment, or the desktop environment that they have by default if you install using the default installer. Or actually, it's called the offline installer. They have like two categories, and I get into that a little later when we go through the install. They have an offline and an online install, where you can install the different desktop environments, like Mate, GNOME, KDE, and all your little different desktops that you want to try out. But like their default desktop environment is Xfce, which it'll install that by default when you do the offline installation. But that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. It's an Arch-based Linux distribution. You have access to the AUR and all the packages that are in the Arch repository, and it's the closest thing to Arch Linux you can get without actually installing Arch Linux. But let's go on and go to the download page. I just want to show you where to download it from, so just hit download help. This is the latest release. It's 2021, and it actually released last month on the 3rd. And then just to show you guys a little bit more, it says 8 desktop environments. So you got Xfce, Mate, LXQt, Cinnamon, Plasma, GNOME, Budgie, Deepin, and Window Manager i3. So if you into the window managers, I kind of stay away from them. You know what I'm saying? I know how to use them, but I kind of stay away from them. I don't really like it. I don't think it helps me as far as productivity, because I'm so used to clicking around and then using shortcuts. I have everything I'm kind of like an old dog, you know what I'm saying? And I can learn new tricks, but you know, I'm kind of stuck in my ways when it comes to certain things. So I typically use Xfce, you know, all the time, and I understand how it works. So I didn't want to, you know, kind of hop into something new and start learning something different. But I mean, I have played around with i3 as well as one of those other window managers. I can't remember which one. Just playing around with it, and it's not hard to use. I just prefer not to go through and learn it. But anyway, it says we already checked the box for necessary base install in the online installer menu. All you have to do is check the box of the desired desktop environment. So I'll show you guys that when we get into it. But the ISO contains the Linux kernel 5.10.11 and Mesa 20.3.4 and NVIDIA 460.39. And Firefox and Calamaris is the installer. In the live environment and offline install updated to Xfce 4.16. So that's part of this release as far as the ISO goes. But here's some of the improvements. And if you're interested in finding out, you know, more about it, just go to this page. This will explain all the improvements that they've done, like several bug fixes that they did. And here are a few of the videos and just some more information on new features that have been added to the actual release. Now let's go down and download it. All you have to do is you can use GitHub to download it. You can download it, use a torrent, or they have a couple repositories where you can actually download it, and you can just click on one of them and it'll download the ISO, and then you can go with the install. So let's go down and pull up my virtual machine and walk through the installation right fast. Okay, cool. So I have the virtual machine created. I gave it like 8 gigabits of memory as well as like 4 processing cores for the install. So let's just go down and hit start. Well, I'm gonna hit cancel right here, and let's go down and start up the actual ISO. And I just kind of wanted to show you guys what it actually shows you as soon as you boot it up. And then once we get to the live thing, I'll skip to that as well. But it says boot Endeavour OS, that's the default. Then they have NVIDIA non-free latest core, that's with NVIDIA drivers. And then boot existing OS if you have one on here, which we don't have one. You can test the memory, you can test hardware, or get the hardware information, reboot and power off. And then what we want to do is just hit the defaults, and then I'll skip ahead once the actual live environment is up. Okay, cool. So we are booted into the live environment. As you can see, this is the default desktop environment, which is Xfce. You can see right here it says live user, so that lets us know we're in the live ISO. And what'll pop up is basically a welcome screen, and I'll just run through all of this. You can go to start installer. You can partition your drives if you want to, because you can use this ISO if you want to just go in and partition your drives. But the installer will, you know, walk you through that process when we get to that step. But they do have a partition manager, so if you have like other drives you want to just use this ISO to partition some drives using probably Gported, then you can use the ISO for this. And then it says update this app, update the mirrors, change display resolution, troubleshoot, installation tips, latest release information. So you can click on that, and that'll most likely bring up the website with some information on whatever you clicked on. And we go under here. I was just kind of going through it just to show you guys what it actually pops up, but this is just some more information. Probably takes you to their website with the information that you're looking for, like a wiki or a news or forum, you know, all that good stuff. Now let's just go on and install it, which is most likely what most people are going to do. You just want to hit start installer, and it'll bring up the Calamaris installer. And actually this is kind of like the first step. It'll bring up this box because you can install offline or you can install online. The online version will be connected to the internet. The offline is no internet needed, and what it will use is what's on the ISO, and that's the method I'm gonna use for this demonstration because I don't care about the desktop environment. But actually I'm gonna go in and show it to you guys, but I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna go back to the offline install because I want to install just Xfce. The other one will install the vanilla theming and all that good stuff. You can install your different desktops, and I'll bring it up. So let me go to the online version first, and then I'm gonna kill it in the middle of it. I'm not gonna go through the install because I don't want to go through. The only difference is when you get down to package selection, it will pull things from the internet for you. So it's the same Calamoris installer. The only difference between the offline and the online is that it allows you to select a different desktop if you want to. So let's go down and hit next on American English, and then right here I'm in LA, so or on that side of the map, so I'll select that. It automatically kind of pulled in my location. And then English, that's the language or the keyboard layout, so select based on your keyboard layout. Now the next port is the partitioning port, so you can select to erase the drive, which is what you're doing on a new system, but just make sure you have backups of whatever drive that you're deleting, because once you run this, ain't no getting that information back. But and then also I'm gonna create swap to a file, and then I'm gonna hit next there, and it'll go on and select the bootloader location, which we want it to be the SDA drive, which is what's selected by default. So let's go on and hit next. And then also right here you can encrypt the system, and then you also of course have the manual partitioning where you can resize things yourself. If you want to, let's say, have your home directory on a different partition, then you can do it that way by using that method. But I'm gonna just put it all on one partition. Hit next. Now this is where I was talking about you can select different desktop environments. So the base is already selected, which is what you want, and then you can select your base desktop environment or whatever desktop environment you want to install from here. And I'm gonna use Xfce, and actually I'm gonna cancel this install because I want to run it using the offline portion as well, so you guys can see it. But this is the last step really. It's just creating your account, and then as well as creating a login information, a computer host name, password, and if you want to use the same password for the administrator account or the root account. So let me cancel this right fast, and then just wait until this closes out, because one thing that it does with Endeavour, it opens up the terminal in the background where it shows you exactly what it's going through, so when it's going through the process. So I'm gonna cancel this. Let me actually just close it because I think it's stuck. But anyway, since I canceled the install, it'll start from the beginning, and I want to do the offline method. And like I stated, you see how the software thing is gone now. That's because it's using everything from the disk. So anything that it installs on your system is coming from that disk, and you don't need internet connection. And so I'm running it that way just to get a quick install. It installs faster that way, in my opinion, versus pulling things off the internet. That's another reason I wanted to just do the offline installation, and also just to show you that it works, and then we don't have to wait a long time, or I don't have to wait a long time before I move on to the next port, because you guys won't see it. I normally skip ahead, but sometimes I ran into installations that have taken an hour long, but the video is like 20 minutes, and because I condensed everything or I removed that portion of the video. But let's go on and run through this. So like I said, it's the exact same thing. Keyboard layout, partitioning. I'm gonna erase the disk. I'm gonna select swap to file, hit next, and then last step is actually creating my account. So boom, and then also the host name, so we could do ed os. That's what I always try to do. Just name it what the distribution is, and then put my super strong password in there. just so we can, you know, move forward. And then I want to use that same password for the administrator account. So let's hit next, and then all you have to do is hit install, and then it'll be back when we actually finish. So install now, boom. And so you'll see it'll go through the whole process. And one cool thing I liked about it, you know, it had everything back here running in a terminal, so you can see everything that's happening while it's going through the process. So that's super dope. Most installers hide that, but I'm assuming they did that on purpose for anybody that wants to see exactly what's happening on the system. Okay, cool. So the installation is complete. It only took like 10 minutes or so to actually install the full distribution. And so the last step is basically clicking this button right here where it says restart now, and just hit done, and that'll reboot the system, as well as, you know, remove the ISO from the system. And this is in every Calamaris installer. You know, it's that installer, and it follows the same code. And when I actually, and just one side note, when I installed this using the online version, it took about 25 to 30 minutes when I actually went through the install there. But, you know, the local offline install, you know, only took about 15 minutes. So just wanted to point that out to you guys, so you guys will know that when it has to download things on the internet, it's all based on your internet speed, as well as the processing on your computer, on your hardware, as far as installing all of those packages. So let's just go down and hit done, so we can reboot the system and bring it back up, and I can show you guys a little bit about the actual system. So let's get started. Okay, cool. So we are booted up, and I removed the ISO from the virtual machine so we could get it up. And let's go down and log into it right fast. Type in my super strong passwords and log into this thing, and then I'll go down and adjust the resolution right fast so we can get this thing going. Okay, cool. And like I stated, it uses the default desktop environment, which is Xfce. So let me go in and modify the display settings right fast. But you can, okay, yeah, I forgot they had this pop-up. This is the display manager right here. And actually, let's go start, and then under settings, yeah, and under settings, display. And let's just go and modify this right fast. All right, cool. So the first thing that'll pop up, this is after install. So it's basically a welcome. It walks through, it actually connects and start checking for updates for the actual system. And as you can see, what popped up in the right hand top, it has 94 updates that are available for the system. So you can use this to actually update the system. They have a button here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll open up a terminal, yeah, and it'll install all the updates. I'm gonna cancel that because I don't want to go through that whole process right now for you guys. But you can update the system, you can update the mirrors, so you have a closer mirror to where you are located. Then down here you got display resolution, and I didn't know it was in there. I could have just went in there and did it, but that's fine. It'll open it up for you from there. Endeavor's wallpapers right here. Choose one of the Endeavour OS wallpapers. So, you know, it has just some basic information you want to do after you do the installation of Endeavour OS. And then this will pop up until you hit don't show me anymore, and it will stop showing you this pop up every single time. But that's that general info again. Then they have some tips. So this talks about package management, AUR, Yay. So Yay, I'm assuming, is installed on the system. Then NVIDIA users, so that's just some information for you guys that have NVIDIA cords in your system. Forum tips, you know, and tutorials and personal command drag and drops or whatever. So I'm gonna close this right now because I want to look at the system, you know, as if it's my first time actually seeing it, and you guys are actually first time seeing it. So So starting on the right hand side, this is how you shut down the system. So pretty much if you've used Xfce, then you'll understand how to actually use this desktop. It just looks a little different, and I like the way they designed it. It looks different from any Xfce that I've seen. So if you never use Xfce, or if you've never used Xfce and you boot up this system with this desktop environment, it does not look like a normal Xfce environment. It looks a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? But I like the way they themed it and make it look, you know, and that's another one of the reasons I want to install a default desktop environment, vanilla Xfce, and the way they have it, you know, designed with the icons and how everything ties into everything. So but that's the shutdown, log out, you know, all that's under that button right there. Then you have your typical time and date with the calendar, and then right here or your notifications, so that'll pop up, that'll show you your notifications. And then here's the battery settings, the volume settings, and then the network settings right here, so you can go in and modify that. Now right here is your desktop settings, or your desktops, your different desktops, and you can click through them, you know what I'm saying, if you want to, or you can use the shortcuts and that'll, you know, take you around the different desktops. But yeah, I right clicked and just went in here just to look at the wallpapers that are installed. This is the default one, and then they have some other default Xfce desktops with the little mouse or whatever there, and then you can go through and make changes from there if you want to, icons, menu, you know, all that good stuff. But you can get to that under your settings. Now one thing I saw that I thought was cool on the taskbar is a system monitor. So based on what it said, this is glances, which I like glances. I think I did a video on glances a while back. It shows you a little bit more information than HTOP, you know, or top or PyTop, all those different, you know, system monitors for the terminal. This is another good one if you haven't checked it out, but check it out. You know what I'm saying? This is a good one. I really like that one, but it's cool to see that on the actual bar. And then of course you have your terminal. So this is the Xfce terminal. So I'm gonna close that. Then here is the file manager, and as you can see, let's go down and see what it is. This is Thunor. So yeah, it has Thunor on it, and I really like the icons, so might have to steal these as well and put them on my main system. The icons are super dope, but that's how you get to that. And then the default looks like Firefox, yes, and it has a different icon. I like that icon with the blue or whatever. I hope you don't get confused with Iceweasel, but that is Firefox and not Iceweasel. It just has a different icon. So I'll open it up. It'll only take a second. Now, since it's my first time opening it up, you know, it always takes a while to get things going. And let me show you guys. Let's just go in here and see what version of Firefox is on here, and it has 85, so that's good, you know what I'm saying. But let's go down and close this, close tabs, boom, and let's go under the start menu or the whisker menu. We can check this out right fast, and just go through all the applications. They have a good amount of applications on here for you. They have Firefox, you know, Xfce terminal, Ristretto image viewer, I've used that. The Parole media player, I like that. That's a good video player, as well as, you know, VLC, but that's not on here, but or it may be on here, I'm not sure. But these are the favorite applications, so you can go through and check these out. Pulse audio, task manager, Thunor file manager, that's the settings for that. And then they have the settings manager you can actually go into and look at all the settings, and I'll open that up for right now and just have it in the background. But recently used, so that tracks anything that you've recently used or opened up. And then here is all the applications, so you can go through and check this out, and let's see what version of Xfce we have on here. And if we go to about, it should tell us the version that we have, which is Xfce 4, and it goes through and shows you everything that's support of the features of Xfce, like the window manager, the panels, desktop manager, file manager, volume manager. You know, all this is included in the Xfce, you know, group of files that are installed, or programs that are installed on the system. So let's just hit close there. But let's go back to the start menu. And then, as you can see, everything is broken out in its own categories. So we have accessories, they have an archive manager, and let's click and see which one this is. It's probably GNOME's archive manager. Let's go to about archive manager. Yeah, that's the GNOME one. So cool. But yeah, that's on here. And then calculator, I actually use that. It's basically a calculator that you can use on your system. Is similar to, I mean, it's a scientific calculator. So and a simple, you know, it says perform simple and scientific calculations. So I use that. They have software token, you know, task manager, do not file manager, you know, all that good stuff. Under development, icon browser, graphics. I always like to see GIMP, but since this the offline install, so that might be why it's not there and not included as a normal application. But this will work, you know, right off, so you can view all your images. But if you're trying to get into graphics design, go on and install GIMP on here as well. And then under internet, we have Firefox, and then this is a server browser right here, SSH, and then VNC. Let's see, under multimedia, Parole media player, like I said, Pulse audio, and some capture utilities, the Qt v4l2 capture utilities or utilities installed. And then let's see what's under Office. So all they have is a PDF viewer. Now, I would have liked to see LibreOffice on here, or OpenOffice, one of the free and open source Office applications pre-installed, but that's fine. I guess they were trying to minimize the size of the installation, the ISO, or the installation media. So that's why a lot of those applications are not there. But under settings, we can go through and check this out. But these are basically all your Xfce settings. You can go through, change your color, appearance, and all that stuff, which I was going to show you under the manager anyway. And then also you got your window manager tweaks on here, so that's good to see. And then your start menu or your stored up, you could change the way that looks as well, but I'll show you guys under settings. But under system, you know, these are just system tools like Gported, HTOP, Task Manager, Xfce Terminal, you know, just basically system tools that you want to use on the system. But and then down here you can see this actually opens up that settings manager, the same settings manager, so you don't have to search for it under the start menu. And then you have your lock, and then suspend, and then right here hibernate, and then the log out or shutdown. So that's basically everything that we brought up over here. You know, you can actually click on it right here and you'll see it as well under the start menu. So but here is the settings menu. So I won't go through this thing too much. I mean, just kind of show you what's in here. You can personalize. This is basically everything you need. You can modify to make the system look how you want it. They have screensavers, you know, the appearance, themes, you know, all that good stuff. Desktop, you know, the background, all that good stuff is under there. Hardware, so display settings, power management, mouse, you know, keyboard, all that good stuff. Removable media, you know, and everything. And then under system, this is where you can change the greeter, which is what I was talking about earlier. You can modify the LiteDM GTK greeter. You can also install other themes, you know, for the LiteDM that'll show up when you first log into the system, or when you first get to the login screen. That's what you're actually changing, and that's what's controlled by LiteDM. And that's pretty much all I want to show you guys on this distribution. Check out Endeavour OS. It's a great OS-based distribution. It looks like it already has, you know, Yay install. A lot of times, a while back, I used to have to install Yay. You know, I have to build it from source, in order to get it on there. It looks like it comes with Yay, and let me verify that right fast. So let's just type man and Yay just to see if it's on here. And yes, it is on here. That's cool. A lot of times when I install Manjaro, I have to install Yay. So it's good to actually see that on here. Yay is like my favorite like AUR helper. And one cool thing about it is written in Go, the Go language, which I did a video on a while back. So that's super cool, right? And I knew it was a reason why I kind of like this thing, because of the language that it's written in. That's super dope. But let's go down and close the terminal. But that's, like I stated, that's all I wanted to show you guys about Endeavour OS. Just check it out for yourself. It's another Arch-based Linux distribution that I recommend people to try out. It's gaining a lot of traction. You know, it's, to me, it's kind of like neck and neck with Manjaro. If you like Manjaro, you know, check that one out. But this is another option to install Arch Linux without having to, with a simple to use installer, which is the Calamaris installer. So check it out. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave comments down in the comment boxes below. And also, if you would like to donate to the channel, you know, I have my links down in the description of the video, Cash App, as well as Patreon, as well as my coin wallets. If you want to support using cryptocurrency, you know, that's freely accepted as well. And everything that you guys send me goes right back into the channel. Have a good day and keep it techie.